think it's called COVID. Corona! It's the Corona Cast with Daliso Chaponda! Hello, and welcome to the Corona Cast comedy show. Here with me, Daliso Chaponda. If this is your first time tuning in, this is a show where I, a stand-up comedian who currently has less than optimal crowd engagement as all entertainers because of the coronavirus, instead entertains you, the people of YouTube, people of Facebook, wherever you may be watching me from. You are more than welcome. I am currently attempting to just start the feed on another platform. If you bear with me, there you go. Let's get started. Today's episode is part two of my comedic look at Africa. If you are one of my regulars, you may have known that how long ago was that? It was last week sometime. I think it might have been Friday or Thursday. I started a comedic look at Africa. It's my continent. Comedic look at my continent of Africa. And essentially, I've always had a dream. I've always had an idea of having a comedic map of Africa. So every single country of Africa being displayed somewhere on my website or just on a website of its own. And as you hover over each country, a Daliso pops up and tells a few jokes about that country. So it's always been a thing I've thought I'll do one day, and I'm like, well, I've got lots of time now because of coronavirus, so why don't I march through? So the first episode, which you can find if you go back through my YouTube channel, was I looked at Angola and Algeria, and as we're going alphabetically, today is going to be jokes about Benin and Botswana. So hopefully you will enjoy that. Hello to everybody who is in the chat. Hello to Venkatesh. Hello to BL2God22 and Sarah Hall. Hello to everybody here. So sorry to hear that your beloved cat has died, Sarah Hall. I hope I can cheer you up. And hello to Marsha and everybody. And soon we will get to the show. But before we get to the show, I must give you some good news. So, in the faith that life is going to resume next year, I am going on tour. You can see this poster over here for the first date of my 2021 tour, which is Apocalypse Not Now, because everybody who has been naysaying and feeling like life will not resume as normal, I'm saying, screw that! This is not the apocalypse. Life will resume, and I've got a very zany and crazy show, which is called Apocalypse Not Now, which will be touring all of 2021. You can go to africancomedian.com. In fact, I urge you to go to africancomedian.com and see when I am coming to your city. And if I'm not coming to your city, join the mailing list, and you will be updated as more dates are added. We're starting with around 25, and we're adding as the year progresses. So that will be Apocalypse Not Now. If you've enjoyed the show at all, please consider buying tickets. Or if you are somebody who does not live in the UK, it's currently just a UK tour, you can still support the CoronaCast Comedy Show by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Daliso Chaponda. But that is the housekeeping. Let's get back to the show. Okay. Let's start with Benin. So this, which we see over here, is the country of Benin. And it's rather unfortunate that I think we are all aware that the person who drew the map of Benin, I think there's no other way to say this than it is entirely possible that the map maker who drew Benin was compensating for something. when he chose the shape that he was drawing. But it's a beautiful country, and I can only blame the map maker for some of the passing resemblance that the beautiful nation of Benin has. But first up, of interesting and amusing tales about Benin for today, I have to tell you that France, the French Senate, has recently approved the return of 27 cultural objects to Benin and Senegal, right? And it's crazy to me that they had to debate this, okay? These are cultural objects that historically, during colonial times, they stole, right? They took all of these cultural objects, put them in their musée, put them in their Musée du Quai collection, right, in their museums, and now they're like, oh, maybe in light of Black Lives Matter, we should think about returning some of these statues. But they didn't just return them. They had a debate in the Senate about whether or not to return them. That's like if a gang steals your stuff, get caught by the police, and they say, wait, before we return it or not return it, let's have a little debate about whether we should return them. But they've got their bronzes back. That's good news, I get, right? And they're mostly statues. And if you look at how museums all around the world have acquired the objects, right? This is true in many countries. Actually, mostly post-colonial nations which once were colonizers. They get their items in one of three ways, okay? Either they were stolen, right? Either they used to do expeditions. While on their war expedition, they'll be like, ooh, that looks nice, we'll have that. That looks nice, we'll have that. Ooh, that looks really nice, they'll have that. And they would take wealth. They would take statues, they would take diamonds, they would take gold, and they would take them back home. That was actually a lot of the impetus for the empire building, in that you're getting shiny, cool things, right? The other way they would get them is loans. So bigger collections of wealthy aristocrats loan them things in their museum, right? And then the other way is they get gifts. They get gifts. People gift the museums. People gift the curators. And one would say that, oh, there's nothing morally gray about gifts. But when you look at the historical context, it's very interesting, because sometimes their curators and their museum collectors would show up at like a village looking for stuff, right? And they'd show up with like, an entourage of people with guns, right? And they'd be like, ooh, that looks nice. And locals would say, oh, you like that? Take it. It's a gift. And I'm not sure if that really is a gift. If you showed out at my house with 2 AK-47s, right? And you're walking around my house with your 2 AK-47s and you're saying, wow, you've got a very nice TV screen. And I'm like, take it. It's yours. It's a gift from the bottom of my heart to you. It's a gift. I'm not sure what kind of a gift it actually is. So that's what's going on with the Benin bronzes, which have been voted by the French Senate to be returned. By the way, I see a lot of people in the chat saying, is he looking? Am I going to be acting questions? When I finish Benin, before going into Botswana, we're going to have a little bit of an entourage. And then I will, not a little bit of an entourage, a little bit of an intermission, right? You're all welcome to join my entourage, but you're going to have a little bit of an intermission, and I will address your questions. I will take a look at the chat. That's what's going to happen. Okay, let's keep going, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have any questions, keep them going. Put them in the chat, and when we get to the intermission, I will take a look. Final thing which I wanted to address and speak to of Benin is something which fascinates a lot of visitors, is that a very large amount of the population believe in voodoo. They practice voodoo. Their religious practice of voodoo. Now, of course, the most common popular culture representation of voodoo is not actually practiced that much in most voodoo practice, which is the effigies, the voodoo dolls, which people get. You always see it coming up. And for example, Little do you know that this panda, okay, is an effigy of a panda which is currently in the North Pole, okay? And when I do this, or when I do that, the poor panda, which is currently in the North Pole, just is like, what? Who slapped me? Who slapped me? We just started a panda fight just right there. And I know pandas are not in the North Pole. But any of you who is a regular of the Corona Cast will know that I did an episode where I talked about he is a panda who wishes he was a polar bear. Okay, let's keep going, ladies and gentlemen. And also say one of the most common actual beliefs in voodoo practice in Benin is they believe that taking of photographs takes away a part of your soul. When someone takes a photograph of you, they take a bit of your soul. And so a lot of locals do not like being photographed. Now, being filmed is essentially being photographed multiple times per minute. So every single one of you is getting parts of my soul. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're enjoying it. Soul eaters. I want my soul back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a short intermission. All of you who have been eating my soul, let's take a look at the chat and see what is going on, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Venkatesh. Hello, hello. So Marsha Buchanan says, please come to Nottingham. I will most likely be doing the Nottingham Playhouse with my Apocalypse Not Now tour. So do check it out. Check out africancomedian.com. The details of how to buy tickets are there. And do not worry, it is COVID safe and also it is chaos safe. So if you buy a ticket and dates have to be moved because of COVID, you do not lose your money. The theaters will either refund you or they will move your tickets to a date which you can go to. All theaters are adapting, as we all are. Okay, let's see how we're going. Have I been to Benin or Botswana? I have not, Tricky Fun. I have not been to either one. Excellent. Sarah Hall says he was an inspiration for the story A Christmas Tale. Oh no! So the cat which has passed away was inspiration for this Christmas Tale, which now is also a memorial. Those of you who are not regulars may not know that Sarah Hall wrote a book called A Christmas Tale, Tail, and you can order it on Amazon. A Christmas Tail. I've forgotten, Sarah Hall, what is your writing name? Do put it in the chat and I will let the people know. Okay. Here we go. Hello, hello. You thought you're on your own? No, there are others here. Do not worry. There are people on different platforms. If you are watching me on a platform where it seems like you're the only one, do not worry, you're not alone. You simply cannot see the others. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Sarah Hall says they want more of my soul. And other people like Jacqueline are pointing out, I have given my soul to you freely. I have, it's true. I didn't even have to sign some kind of Mephistopheles letter. I have just been willingly daily giving you pieces of my soul since March. By the end of the Corona Cast, there's going to be nothing left. Okay, but at least my soul is going to be scattered all around the world. Oh, Sarah says you watched Chelsea on some of her TikTok videos. OMG, she is funny. She is funny indeed. You have got some fans who found you on TikTok. Yay! Okay, how are we doing? Will I audition for Britain's Got Talent again? Dreamwalker, I will not. You only do Britain's Got Talent once. Otherwise, it would just be the same people every year. But do not worry, you will see me on television soon, Dreamwalker, as I am doing the Royal Variety Performance, which will air in a little over a week. And yes, it is Tornadia Storm, A Christmas Tale by Tornadia Storm, for any of you who is looking for a children's book as a gift for your children's Christmas. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to it. And Jacqueline Boylan says, pieces of my soul are scattered like Voldemort. This is entirely true. I hope my nose doesn't disappear as his did. Okay, we are now going to move on, ladies and gentlemen. We are now going to move on. Oops, I don't know why that happened. I guess it resets every time I leave. We're going to now move to Botswana! Botswana in the house. This is a country in southern Africa. You can see it on the map. It was not drawn by somebody who was compensating for his shortcomings. That is the nation of Botswana. Now, what Botswana is very, very well known for is it has the biggest concentration of elephants in the world. It has approximately 130,000 elephants. So if you are an elephant fan, visit Botswana. You will not be disappointed. I just realized that I need to move this image across like that. And that then I am not clashing with the image. Okay, so Botswana, as I was saying, Botswana has the largest concentration of elephants. Now, they made a very controversial decision in the last 12 months in that they lifted the ban on elephant hunting. And a lot of people in the world, a lot of conservationists were very angry. A lot of people were criticizing Botswana. A lot of people in Western countries were saying this is entirely upsetting. A lot of Botswanans got angry at this because they were like, you killed all your animals and now you're telling us how to treat the ones we've got left, right? This is none of your business, okay? You stay in your business. And the reason why it's more complicated than people who impulsively, and I admit I was one of them, impulsively like, no, leave the elephants alone, is that it's a very complicated thing that happens. So in 2014, the previous president of Botswana was called Ian Khama. He was a big conservationist, and he said we need to stop the poaching, which is entirely true. It needed to stop the poaching, and he introduced a shoot to kill poachers initiative, right? If someone's poaching, you shoot him, you kill him, right? And he really, really pushed hard on the conservation, which was great. The numbers of poachers went down dramatically. The population started to thrive, right? But now, perhaps, the population has got unmanageable in Botswana because, you know, an elephant is a 12,000-pound creature, right? Which spends 2/3 of the day eating, right? And a lot of local farmers are finding that, you know, wandering elephants are just trampling over their crops, eating all their crops. And a lot of people, of the locals, are feeling like the elephants are 12,000-pound pests, okay? And also, you should know that elephants are very amorous, right? Elephants are one of the few animals which perform foreplay. Yeah! And you know they're good at it because the male elephants never forget where the clitoris is. But anyway, so they introduced these great rules to limit any hunting of the elephants, went really hard on the conservation, but now they are saying that they've now grown to an unmanageable amount of elephants in Botswana. And this is the thing, is if you make rules, if you make plans, even when they seem like they're doing good things, sometimes unexpected things years later may make you reevaluate the rules that you made. For example, a lot of partners, a lot of couples will make lists of celebrities which they're each allowed to sleep with, right? Some of you may have your lists. If you have lists, tell us in the chat who's on your list. Who would your partner allow you to sleep with, okay? Who's on the list, right? But let's say your list, let's say I'm with somebody and I'm like, okay, mine will be Jennifer Lopez and Rihanna. If ever I come across them, I'm allowed a free pass. And then she says she wants hers to be like Denzel Washington, Tom Hardy. All very well. But if suddenly Tom Hardy moves next door, you may regret what was initially a fun rule. So, of course, the conservation rules were magnificent, but there's been a lot of reevaluating at them currently because of how high the population is of elephants in Botswana. But at the same time, in the rest of Africa, the elephant populations continue to dwindle. There's a lot of poaching. So I don't know exactly how financially viable it would be because they are 12,000-pound creatures. But wouldn't it be great if we could send the elephants to the countries where the population is dwindling, instead of all of them being in the country which has too many elephants? I don't know how practical that is, but that, I think, would be a better solution than hunting these magnificent beasts, magnificent creatures. Okay, thank you so much. Let's keep going to the next interesting thing about Botswana. Now, Botswana, you may not know this, is the world's most valuable diamond producer, and they're the second biggest diamond producer, and in terms of actually value of the diamonds, they are the world's number one, right? Diamonds from Botswana are with cash. They're rare, they're very good quality, all about the diamonds. But what is slightly amusing to me, even though they are the world's second biggest diamond producer and most number one in terms of value, when it comes to their own weddings, it's not culturally diamonds which they deal in. You don't give people engagement rings. What you do give them is cattle. Like, can you imagine if you're some beautiful person in Botswana, and you're like, wait, I could get a diamond from the mine over there, and you're giving me a cow? But if you actually think about it, a cow is much more useful than a diamond. Okay? A cow is a friend. A cow can produce milk. Eventually, you can eat the cow. Now, the way that dowry works, if any of you are not aware of how dowry works traditionally, is that you give the family of the bride, her parents, you give her cows, right? You give her some cattle. Depending on how hot she is, you give her a different number. So let's say she's pretty hot, you give her, like, her family 22 cows, right? To show that you have the financial capability to take care of her. But the flaw in this logic is, couldn't it take care of her? And then I gave away all my cows to you, and now I'm broke, okay? If anything, I should keep the cows now that I'm taking care of her, and you should give me more cows. But that's the way it works. A lot of people take out big loans to pay the dowries. Dowries are very complicated, right? And then another interesting thing about Botswana traditionally is they used to have two weddings, right? Everybody used to have two weddings. It's two weddings at the groom's and two weddings at the bride. A wedding at the groom's house, and a wedding at the groom's village, and a wedding at the bride's village. So two weddings. Now, that would be really... could you imagine? That means you have to make two speeches. If you are the best man, you have to write two funny speeches. You have to give them two gifts. You end up with two hangovers. The classic film, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. In Botswana, it would have just been 2 weddings. Let's keep going. And the final thing, ladies and gentlemen. Before I speak about the final thing, I see a lot of comments and questions. Let's see what's going on here. Sarah Hall says, my son just said the Democratic Repongo instead of the Democratic Republic of Congo. He blended the name. That is absolutely wonderful. Actually, I think we should start a petition that they should change their name to the Democratic Repongo, because that is absolutely awesome. Jacqueline Brown says, yeah, but not one of the animals where the females come. I think that's just humans and pigs. What, humans and pigs do what? Oh, is this commenting to the fact that I said elephants use foreplay? Elephants do use foreplay. They've got moves. I wonder what the elephant Kama Sutra looks like. Hello, Pernala Chia. Good to have you in the house. You said in China the female's family gives the dowry. That is fascinating. I am booking a flight to China as we speak. That would be absolutely wonderful for me. Wouldn't have, Jacqueline Brothers said, wouldn't it have been 8 weddings and 2 elephant funerals? That sounds just right. Dreamwalker says, can I show Chelsea's face? No, I can't just show Chelsea's face. If you want to see Chelsea's face, go on TikTok and type in Chelsea Heart is me. Okay? Excellent. So the final thing which I will talk about is I will talk about the San. The San are a tribe who are some of the inhabitants of Botswana, and they are the world's oldest tribe. I'm not saying that they're all old people. I'm saying that they date back 22,000 years, okay? And it's an absolutely fascinating culture, which is very sad when you consider that there are many things that they possibly do more wisely and better than our current mainstream culture. Unique and have no social duties, right? Other than playing. Isn't that glorious? Children, when you're a child, all you are meant to do is play, because they recognize it, particularly because they live in desert areas, that life is extremely harsh as you get older and you get responsibilities. So your youth is spent on delight, okay? Second thing, women, very high status. Very high status. One of the few ancient cultures which did not have a lot of the common misogyny that is all over the place. Greatly respected and make important family decisions. Egalitarian, right? They would have chiefs, but the chiefs do not have that much power over the rest of the tribe. And in fact, every important decision was made via consensus, right? And then this is the most revolutionary and interesting part. They had a gift economy. So nobody owns anything and everybody would gift each other things rather than buying stuff. And also what that means is if we all go hunting and I find an animal and you don't find an animal, when we get home, we share it. I know. I gift you my good luck. And then tomorrow, if you hunt and you get it, you gift me your good luck. I'm particularly interested in this because I have a number of famous friends, such as Jason Manfred, such as Sarah Milliken. Perhaps we should do a gift economy whereby we all go out one year and we all try to earn what we can, and then at the end of the year, we split it. No, it is a fascinating culture. It's an absolutely fascinating culture, and it's mostly monogamous. The only people who are allowed to take a second wife on is those who can show that they're a good enough hunter to get a lot of food consistently. Now, ladies who may be watching the Corona cast, I think it's very important that you know that my fridge is full, okay? My fridge is constantly full, right? I make multiple trips to Tesco. Give me a call. Ladies and gentlemen, very good to have you in the house. Let's take a final look at the chat. Also, I will just remind you, everybody who is watching, that come 2021, Daliso Chaponda is going on tour. It's going to be the Apocalypse Not Now tour. This is not the end of the world. COVID-19 will not defeat us. This is not the end of the world. This is the show. It's going to be a 90-minute show full of laughter. Go to africancomedian.com. Buy a ticket. If your city is not represented, join the mailing list, okay? Or join patreon.com/Daliso Chaponda. If you are at the right threshold, you'll see there are different thresholds. You get a free ticket when I do a show in your city. Okay, let's take a final look at the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, how are you doing? How are you doing? Yes, yes, yes. That is really lovely. Glad you're enjoying the show. Hello from India. Tharsa Kedao. Good to have you in the house. Leo Wall, you remember when I was in BGT? I remember that too. It was a very good time. Turned my life. Leo Wall says, hey, can you make an Indian joke? I have one Indian joke. It's not very good, so I will not make that Indian joke. It's not relevant anymore. It's from a show which I did around 12 years ago. But there are some brilliant comics you can watch if you want jokes about India. I recommend Sugar Sammy, Samir Kular, who is a brilliant, very funny friend of mine. And what else do we have in the house? Have I ever gotten in trouble with the law for a stupid reason? I have. I've got in trouble for a joke. It's a joke. I did a joke about the government. It was maybe 2009. Feels like that sort of time. If you Google Chaponda, Daliso Chaponda, censorship board, you'll find out exactly what year it was. I did some jokes in Malawi about the Malawi government. I thought I was safe to do it because at the time my dad was in the Malawi government. And lo and behold, in fact, it put too much attention on them. The newspapers put articles out which were saying minister's son ridicules government. And yeah, I was in trouble with the censorship board. My dad was in trouble with the president. I was terrified I was going to be arrested. It was a lot of trouble. It was a lot of hoo-ha. I got through it unscathed. If you read the articles, you'll see I just apologized a lot and, invited the censorship board to my next show so that they could see that it was not this revolutionary bring down the establishment show which they thought it was. So yeah, that is Dreamwalker, me getting in trouble with the law for a silly reason. Yikes indeed. Yes, that is a long time ago. Was the joke about my comic life in Malawi? The punchlines are often lies, right? But the setup, the story I say before the reversal is usually true. And that is because I am a bad actor, and generally it's easier for me to just tell my past than to make up a story. What I do sometimes is I will take a story that happened and I'll remix it to the point that it no longer resembles the initial story. So some people may be like, were you actually exercised? I was not exercised, but that comes from a real fight which I had with a preacher. And similarly, I never had sex with somebody at midnight and tried to give them an orgasm by electrocuting them, for any of you who knows that joke. But that is based on trying to give a woman an orgasm on her birthday when she'd had a very bad day, and just be like, well, I better pull through today because she needs this today. Somebody asked, am I a fan of Ricky Gervais? Yes, I am a fan of his script writing more than his stand-up, but his script writing is astonishing. Extras is one of my favorite sitcoms. He's an exquisite script writer. His actual stand-up, he's a little, not my style, but he's very popular, and everybody's got a different style which they love. I love storytellers more than people who are gagsmith. So my favorite stand-ups are people like Billy Connolly, people like Chris Rock, favorite all time, probably Joan Rivers. May she rest in peace. Yes. Excellent. Hello. I think that's all of the questions we've got. So without further ado, thank you for tuning in to the CoronaCast Comedy Show. I'm out. Peace.